All right, guys, so I am actually very excited to make this video because I've been wanting to talk about this kind of topic for quite some time now. Okay, so obviously this is a versus channel, right? We are all here for versus content. We all love versus. And one of the biggest questions is when versus becomes, I don't really think it's a question of if, it's more of a question of when versus becomes extremely popular, that it gets an anime adaptation of itself, what company would we all as fans prefer to pick it up and do the animation for it, right? That's the question. Man, that's exciting. Now, this is very important, okay? Because whatever company picks up versus and does it will dictate how this manga or anime is perceived by the world, how good it is, right? So I think it's really important that the right animation studio gets this project. And I really don't want it to be like One Punch Man. I feel like One Punch Man has not gotten the respect that it deserves, and we really need versus to be the opposite of that. So in this video, I want to talk about who I feel would be the best options to pick up versus for an anime series. So with that being said, I first want to talk about who I feel would be the best animation studio in my greatest fantasy, right? My hopes. Now, the studio who I'm gonna choose, I don't think is a realistic option. However, I do feel like they have produced some of the best animation that I've ever seen, and I would love for them to do it. However, I don't feel like they are a realistic option to do it. Nonetheless, I'm gonna talk about them anyway. So the best animation studio I feel I would love to see pick up versus for an anime would be Samsara Studio, who animated Fog Hill of the Five Elements. The reason I would love for them to pick up versus is because they have incredible imaging. Very vibrant colors, really great movement going on. animation, their fight scenes are incredible. Their hand-to-hand combats are just insane. And their sound effects, forget about it. So I think that Samsara Studio would have been the best studio that can really bring out the best in Versus as an anime. However, the reason I don't think that Samsara Studio would be a realistic option is because Samsara Studio, although they are amazing, they do not work quickly enough. They take about 4 to 6 years to come out with only a few episodes. And from what I hear, it's because they have a very small team of animators, and it just takes them an extremely long time to do what they need to do. Now, I'm sure if they have the right funding, the right backing, they can hire more people, train them on their process, and they could probably narrow that down to about 1.5 to 2 years. But without the right funding, the right backing, that's just not possible, right? So with that being said, as much as I would love Samsara Studio to do the animation for the manga verses, I just don't think that's a realistic option. So with that being said, I want to now give you guys who the animation studio who I feel would be the realistic option and my preferred option to pick up Versus as an anime, okay? Now, I'm actually going to give you guys two. And the reason I'm giving you guys two is because I really could not decide between these two. I really feel like they're on the same level. I don't really feel like one is better than the other. And I would be totally fine if either one of these picked it up. So with that being said, the two studios that I would prefer to pick up Versus as an anime, and I think they would do a great job, would either be David Productions or Studio Ufotable. David Productions is the studio who does the animation for the anime Fire Force, okay? They've done season 1 and season 2. Studio Ufotable is the animation studio who does the animation for Demon Slayer. Now, the reason I have chosen both of those animation studios is because similar to Samsara Studio for Fog Hill of the Five Elements, they do what I believe to be the key points of an animation that make it great very well. Okay, their sound effects are just incredible.
雷の呼吸一の型霹靂一閃
Their fighting scenes are really good, very smooth, fluent motions. And then lastly, I think that their colors are very vibrant and they stand out very well. And I just think that the drawings that they do are very good. So I would have no problem with either David Productions or Studio Ufoldable doing the animation for Versus. I think either one of them would do an amazing job. Now, I'm sure a lot of you are probably wondering why certain other animation studios were not mentioned for this preferred preference here. And I can actually answer some of those, okay? So a good example of one that I'm sure a lot of you are thinking of is Studio Mappa. A lot of you are probably wondering, well, why didn't you mention Studio Mappa? They're amazing. They're picking up everything right now. Honestly, guys, I really am not that impressed with Studio Mappa, like a lot of other people are. I think that Studio Mappa is a little overhyped. I was not impressed with Studio Mappa's season 4 of Attack on Titan. I felt like there was a lot of CGI in season 4, and I'm a 2D guy. You know, I understand it takes more time, but I'm willing to wait more time in order to get that 2D quality. If you're gonna be on a time crunch, then I don't even want it. I'm good on the CGI. I wasn't a fan of Chainsaw Man, and I'm not a super big fan either. Wasn't it Studio Mappa that did Jujutsu Kaisen as well? You know, I wasn't a fan of that. And, you know, a lot of people were super impressed with the last fight in season 2 of Jujutsu Kaisen. I mean, it was cool. Like, don't get me wrong, the imaging for the fight was cool. But honestly, I felt like the sound effects for that fight scene was pretty weak. I felt like it was very, like, mediocre sound effects. I felt like it could have been a lot better. So, yeah, I don't think that Studio Mappa is really all that impressive. So, me personally, I would hate it if Studio Mappa took on Versus. I don't want them to touch Versus. Surprisingly, guys, at one point, I would have thought that Studio Bones would have been great for Versus. Studio Bones is the one who does My Hero Academia. And I thought that Studio Bones did a great job for My Hero Academia seasons 1 through 6. I thought that they did a great job. However, for season 7 that's going on right now, honestly, no, I think season 6 too. I think their season 6 was pretty weak too. Honestly, bro, it's just bad. Like, I don't know where the budget went. Again, I don't know if they're on some type of time crunch, but their animation is just really not good. So I wouldn't want Studio Bones to touch it either. But at one point, I would have loved for them to. But yeah, so those are a couple of examples of very well-known animation studios that some of you would probably have thought of, but would not necessarily be my preference. But look, man, if it's your preference, that's cool. And feel free to put it in the comments if you want to. I'm not going to argue with you about it. If that is your preference, we all like different stuff. I'm not going to tell you that you're wrong, because you're not. You know, we all have our preferences. I just think that Samsara Studio would be the best option, but, you know, they just need more, they need a bigger team, you know, because 4 to 6 years, bro, no way. And especially only for a few episodes, 3 or 4 episodes, nah, bro, you guys need to do way better than that. Like I said, David Productions or Studio Ufoldable, they do an amazing job as well. I mean, not saying that they're perfect, because they're not. You know, both shows, both Demon Slayer as well as Fire Force. They do have moments in the animes where the animation does kind of fall off a little bit. But, you know, I'm sure that's due to the time crunch. I'm sure that's due to the budget and stuff. But I don't feel like they sacrifice too much. I feel like most of the seasons have really good fight scenes, really good quality. So I think those two would be the best choice for versus anime adaptation. So again, you guys let me know in the comments, who do you think should take Versus on as an anime? All right, well, if you guys like this video, hit like. If you want to see more like it, hit subscribe, and I will see you guys later. Bye.